इंडिया की तरफ बहुत ज़्यादा एक सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर भी रखते हैं। अभी भी जब हम लोग उनको ऑब्जर्व कर रहे थे, जब हम फोटो लेने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, ही वॉज मोर इंटरेस्टेड इन सीइंग द प्रोजेक्ट। उन्होंने बोला कि मुझे प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करने दो, फिर मैं आपके साथ जरूर फोटो खींचूंगा।
डेडिकेटेड पर्सन है।
Definitely.
And the reason why India is currently giving Australia a very big hiding in Australia, holding the T20 World Cup, and not just because of Sky's catch to get David Miller out in the T20 World Cup, but the reason why India is so strong in cricket is because we are seeing these sort of facilities coming up.
And this sort of facility, what I do love about this facility, it's not just about cricket. Because I grew up in South Africa playing football, playing hockey, playing tennis. So that definitely benefited my fielding. And this sort of facility is going to be fairly unique.
There's one picture that I remember of World Cup cricket, 2011. India hosted the World Cup. MS Dhoni, helicopter shot for 6. You remember that? All right, we all want to do that. That's the sexy things in cricket.
I consider myself Indian, half Indian, half South African. And as a father, I know how important. My father was a school principal, and we grew up at a school ground.
Namaskar. And then the rest will be English.
आज 1 दिसंबर है और 1 दिसंबर भिलाई के लिए बड़ा दिन है, क्योंकि साउथ अफ्रीका के लेजेंड क्रिकेटर और दुनिया में सबसे बेहतरीन फील्डर जॉन्टी रोड्स भिलाई की पावन धरा पर आए हैं। संजय रुंगटा ग्रुप इंस्टीट्यूशन में रुंगटा ग्रुप क्रिकेट एकेडमी की शुरुआत हुई है चौहान एकेडमी के साथ कोलैबोरेशन में। यहाँ पे सब लोग आए हुए हैं, एग्जीबिशन लगा हुआ है स्कूल का, कुछ हमारे साथ आए हुए टीचर्स है, फैकल्टी और भी लोग हैं। तो जानेंगे कि कितना एक्साइटमेंट था जॉन्टी रोड्स को लेने के लिए। मैंने देखा कि मैडम आप लोग फोटो खिंचाने के लोग आगे पीछे कर रहे थे।
हाँ जी, हम लोगों का फोटो सेशन हो गया है एंड वी आर ऑल वेरी हैप्पी, और हम काफी इसको एंजॉय कर रहे हैं आज का जो एग्जीबिशन लगा है, और प्लस बच्चों का जो कल्चरल प्रोग्राम है।
आपने जब फोटो खिंचाया तो उनका कैसा नेचर लगा? क्योंकि हम हमेशा टीवी में देखते हैं, रायपुर भी आए हुए हैं पर भिलाई पहली बार आए हैं।
He was very cooperative and we are thankful to our chairman sir जिन्होंने हमको privilege कराया for this photograph, और it was a nice experience with him because अपने ही college में, अपने ही premises में finding a personality is every time is very difficult, so we are thankful to our management for this.
आप बताइए, घर में बच्चे भी होंगे तो बोलेंगे आप अकेले अकेले फोटो खिंचा के आ गए, हम नहीं लेंगे।
Definitely, everybody is very, very excited to have Jonty Rhodes in Bhilai, and it was our privilege. And thanks to our honorable chairman, sir, we got the privilege of getting a big click next to him. So we all are very, very excited. And my daughter studies in the school, so उसके सब friends भी बहुत excited है कि Jonty Rhodes आ रहा है RPS में, तो it is a big privilege.
फोटो खिंचा लिया पर बच्ची का नहीं खिंचाया, बेटी बोलेगी तो क्या?
उसको अभी ज्यादा चांसेस मिलेंगे ना, हमारे पास अब चांसेस अभी कम है।
बड़े इंडियन क्रिकेटर भी आ सकते हैं। आप बताएंगे मैम, जैसे फोटो खिंचाया आप लोग भी कर रहे थे, और जॉन्टी रोड्स अपने आप में ही नाम बड़ा है।
बिल्कुल, नाम तो बहुत बड़ा है और उन्होंने बिल्कुल बहुत अच्छे से कोऑपरेट किया। एंड एज ऑलवेज संजय रुंगटा ग्रुप ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशंस रॉक, क्योंकि हर बार यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे अच्छे सेलिब्रिटी आते हैं। पहली बार इतने बड़े क्रिकेटर आए हैं और हम लोग को बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा मौका मिला हमको। थैंक यू।
उनकी बेटी का नाम भी इंडिया है, उन्होंने खुद बताया। तो उन्होंने इंडिया से अपना गहरा रिएक्शन वो भी बताया, नाता।
हाँ, बहुत गहरा नाता बताया। ये बताता है कि हाउ मच ही loves Indian culture and yes and वो इंडिया की तरफ बहुत ज़्यादा एक सॉफ्ट कॉर्नर भी रखते हैं। अभी भी जब हम लोग उनको ऑब्जर्व कर रहे थे, जब हम फोटो लेने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, he was more interested in seeing the project। उन्होंने बोला कि मुझे प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करने दो, फिर मैं आपके साथ जरूर फोटो खींचूंगा।
डेडिकेटेड पर्सन है।
डेफिनेटली।
सर हमारे साथ मौजूद है, सर बताएंगे क्या बोलेंगे आयोजन को लेकर, और जॉन्टी रोड्स को एकदम करीब से देख के कैसा लगा?
बहुत अच्छा लगा। मेरे तो चाइल्डहुड फेवरेट क्रिकेटर है जॉन्टी रोड्स, उनकी फील्डिंग का तो मैं बहुत कायल था।
फ्लाइंग कैच आपको याद होगा जो फोटो वायरल है?
फ्लाइंग कैच है, फ्लाइंग कैच से ज्यादा जो इन्होंने इंजमाम को रन आउट किया था डाइव करके 92 के वर्ल्ड कप में, वो सबसे ज्यादा याद रहेगा।
मैम आप बताइए कि कैसा लगा उनसे?
बहुत बढ़िया। द लेजेंड ऑफ क्रिकेट यहाँ आए, एक इंस्पिरेशन, मोटिवेशन सभी बच्चों के लिए, सभी जो देखते हैं उनको और उनके आगे जैसा, उनके जैसा होना चाहते हैं। इट वाज अ वंडरफुल, माय किड वाज एक्चुअली वेरी एक्साइटेड एंड गॉट to see him, got a picture with him. Yes, and he really loved the opportunity. Thanks to the management, thanks to SRG, and thanks to our chairman sir and our director sir. Thank you
आप सबका। जैसे आपने देखा कि जॉन्टी रोड्स आए थे तो उन्होंने सबने क्या रिएक्शन दिया है। उन्होंने स्टेज में जब इनॉग्रेशन किया क्रिकेट एकेडमी का तो उन्होंने क्या कुछ कहा है। 3-4 मिनट का भाषण है इंग्लिश में दिया है, और आप समझ जाएंगे। हम कोशिश करेंगे और भी लोगों से बात करें और उसको ट्रांसक्राइब भी कर दे। इस पूरे आयोजन का रिपोर्ट इस वीडियो में आपको देखने को मिलेगा। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर कर लें। मैं लाभेश, कैमरे के पीछे नागेंद्र, धन्यवाद। अक्टूबर में बुरी खबर आई थी जब हमें पता चला था कि रतन टाटा जी अब इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे हैं। उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन जो है ये देश नहीं भुला सकता, साथ ही दुनिया भी नहीं भुला सकता। तो रुंगटा R2 कॉलेज में हम हैं, यहाँ पे एग्जीबिशन लगा हुआ है R2 कॉलेज के रुंगटा पब्लिक स्कूल में। यहाँ पे टाटा स्टील्स और टाटा के जितने भी इंडस्ट्री रहे हैं उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन बताया गया कि हमारे देश की इकोनॉमी कितना रहा है। हमारे साथ हेड गर्ल भी हैं स्कूल की और यहाँ पे देख भी रही है, उनसे जानेंगे। आप बताइए कि ये जो आप एग्जीबिशन लगाए हैं पूरे टाटा इंडस्ट्रीज के पीछे, इसके पीछे क्या आपके मोटिव है और क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं?
देखिए, हमारा मोटिव ये है कि ये टाटा का एक स्मार्ट सिटी है, जो कि ऐसा कोई असलियत में ऐसा स्मार्ट सिटी नहीं है, बट टाटा का इतना ज्यादा कंट्रीब्यूशन है हर एक फील्ड में, हर एक सेक्टर में, कि हम उससे एक पूरा एक स्मार्ट सिटी बना सकते हैं। जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ हमने इंडस्ट्री बनाई है जो कि एक रेप्लिका है टिस्को का, टाटा स्टील, जो जमशेदपुर में आप सब जानते ही होंगे। और ये हॉस्पिटल है, कैंसर हॉस्पिटल जो टाटा ने दिए हैं। मॉल्स तो आप जानते होंगे, टाटा के बहुत सारे ब्रांड्स है, जैसे टाइटन, वेस्ट साइड, फास्टेक्स, आप सब ये सारे नामों से फेमिलियर होंगे और आपने कभी ना कभी वो सारे प्रोडक्ट्स को यूज भी किया होगा। रेसिडेंशियल एरिया भी टाटा प्रोवाइड करता है, जिसमें वो अपने लोगों के लिए हर एक फैसिलिटी देता है। एजुकेशनल कैंपस की तरफ मैं अगर बढ़ूं, अगर मैं स्कूल की बात करूं, तो स्कूल के में भी उसका बहुत सारा कंट्रीब्यूशन है। उन्होंने बहुत सारे स्कॉलरशिप प्रोग्राम्स भी लॉन्च किए थे।
होटल भी है मेरे ख्याल से।
जी जी जी, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। हमारे यहाँ पे एक रेप्लिका है ताज होटल का, जो मुंबई में बना हुआ है। वो एक 5 स्टार होटल है।
जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं जॉन्टी रोड्स भी यहाँ आए हुए हैं। जॉन्टी रोड सारे जिन्हें समझाएंगे लगातार। यहाँ पे जो है जॉन्टी रोड्स एक एक एग्जीबिशन में, एक एक काउंटर में चीजें को एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं और अपना सजेशन दे रहे हैं और अपना रिएक्शन दे रहे हैं कि उनका चीज कैसा लगा। टाटा स्टील्स, टाटा इंडस्ट्री वाले स्टॉल में आए हैं, जैसे आप देख सकते हैं। अब हेड गर्ल मैडम से जो है खुद जॉन्टी रोड्स मिलके गए हैं, तो अब इनसे बात करना और थोड़ा प्रोडक्टिव हो जाएगा। क्या कहा उन्होंने?
उन्होंने ज्यादा कुछ तो वैसे नहीं बताया है, बट उन्होंने, आई गेस उनके एक्सप्रेशन से, कि उनको वो सारी चीजें बहुत अच्छी लगी है। उन्होंने रतन जी का फोटो देख के श्रद्धांजलि भी दी है, जो कि एक बहुत बहुत अच्छी बात है। तो हमारा ये पूरा एग्जीबिशन है वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ हमारे रतन टाटा जी के ऊपर ही है। उनके सारे कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन जो हमारे फील्ड में हुए हैं, बहुत सारे सेक्टर्स में उनके कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन हुए हैं, जो कि आप सब देख सकते हैं। हमने छोटा सा एक रेप्लिका बनाने का बस ट्राई किया है। उनके बहुत सारे जगहों में कंट्रीब्यूशन है, हम सबको एक साथ तो नहीं ला सकते हैं, बट हम बहुत ट्राई किए कि वो सारी चीजों को हम ला सके।
बहुत शानदार आपने रेप्लिका बनाया है और आपका सक्सेस भी होगा, क्योंकि कुछ जॉन्टी रोड जो आके हैं प्रशंसा की है। आप अपना नाम बता दीजिए, मैं फिर कंक्लूड करती हूँ।
जी, मेरा नाम रुविनी पॉल है और मैं रुंगटा पब्लिक स्कूल की छात्र हूँ, जो मैं 12वीं कक्षा में पढ़ती हूँ, कॉमर्स में।
तो ये था पूरा आयोजन को लेके। आगे आप सुनेंगे कि आगे जॉन्टी रोड्स ने ग्राउंड में क्या कहा।
Namaskar. Namaskar. And then the rest will be English. My daughter's name is India, and the respected dais, and everybody. A function like this always reminds me just of cricket. Now, for a long time, I was seen as the fielding father, the father of fielding. Now I feel like the grandfather of fielding. Because only these gentlemen here know who I am, because they were watching when I was playing. So all the young ladies as well, welcome, thank you, great to see you. And I think I'm always excited, actually live, not just as my daughter is named India, but my wife and I and the family, we live in India for 6 months and then South Africa for 6 months. So we shift from country to country. We think we have the best places to live in the world, so we're very grateful. But what we see cricket, the great thing about cricket is that it is always a team sport, right? So no matter if you're batting or if you're bowling or if you're fielding, you always have a contribution to make to your team. And I think that's what I've heard in the office, I've heard on the dais, the importance of the community that has raised this up. Yes, there are people whose property this is and whose institution this is, but without the assistance of everybody, without everybody playing their part, this sort of thing wouldn't happen. And the reason why India is currently, one, giving Australia a very big hiding in Australia, holding the T20 World Cup, and not just because of Sky's catch to get David Miller out in the T20 World Cup, but the reason why India is so strong in cricket is because we are seeing these sort of facilities coming up. And in South Africa, it's not happening. Everybody's waiting for the cricket board to do the work. Here, the people are doing the work for themselves and for you as well. So I think my message today is, one, to be grateful. So the people who are going to use these facilities, not just the cricket ground, as Rajesh rightly said, I was a hockey player, I was a football player and a tennis player. And we did not have a fielding coach playing for South Africa. So I became the best fielder in the world because nobody else was fielding, right? The Indian team, they were going like this, putting out one foot. And the South African players were diving around. So very easy to be the best player in the world. All right, because nobody else, there was no number 2, no number 3. But it's so important that you all who are going to use these facilities, not just the cricket field, but also the other sporting facilities, one, be grateful. Be very grateful. Because there are so many people in India who want to play cricket for India, but have very less facilities. So don't complain about whatever the lights are or it's not great. You have facilities here that are going to be excellent in this region. So please never take it for granted. Always be grateful. The second thing I need you to remember as cricket players is don't wait for the coach to tell you to practice harder. There is no shortcut for success. Whether you are in the office or in in the academics or on the sports field, it requires hard work, correct? There is no push through. You have to work hard. But if you are appreciating what you have, if you are enjoying what you have, it never seems like hard work. Okay, so remember that. There is no shortcut. It does require hard work. But the most important lesson that I learned as a cricket player, because I didn't score many runs when I was batting, but I was always fielding. And if I could stop the ball, it would help my team. It would help the bowler, because his figures were 4 runs better. Didn't help my batting. So everything that I did was for the benefit of the team. So while I had to practice my skill, my biggest contribution in cricket was to my team and my teammates. So just remember that. You don't have to be the star. There's one picture that I remember of World Cup cricket, 2011. India hosted the World Cup. MS Dhoni, helicopter shot for 6. You remember that? All right, we all want to do that. That's the sexy things in cricket. We all want to do that, no? Or Bumrah knocking the stumps over. Last ball winning the game. But there's so many other contributions we can make to the team. So remember that. It's not just about the sexy things in cricket. The helicopter shot. The scoop. Okay? Be like Sky. It's small things that we can do for our teammates. And like I said, this is a whole team here. The reason why we're standing here is because of the whole team. So you who are going to utilize these facilities, you are part of a bigger team and you have a contribution to make. I'm coming back to check that you're all making that contribution. So thank you for having me. And I'll see you all soon when the grass is green. Because right now it's definitely bowl first. Yeah, it's not bat first wicket, it's bowl first. I'll come back when it's better to bat on. Okay. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think as a South African cricket player, former South African cricket player, but somebody who lives in India for 6 months of the year, I think there's always been a real admiration for the passion for the game in India. But I think the rise of Indian cricket is because of facilities such as this. Because in the past, in my generation, cricket was played in the metro. So people living in tier 1, tier 2 cities were not given an opportunity. And as an opponent of Indian cricket, I'm a bit nervous because if India is playing this well and they're yet to benefit from these sort of facilities, giving access to previously children and young players who didn't have these facilities, I'm really worried that India has another dimension that is still coming. And what I love to see today wasn't just the young men, it was the young ladies as well. who are turning up. And I think that's the next stepping stone in India. There's such popularity amongst women's cricket in India. And I think that's a great thing to see. And this sort of facility, what I do love about this facility, it's not just about cricket. Because I grew up in South Africa playing football, playing hockey, playing tennis. So that definitely benefited my fielding. And this sort of facility is going to be fairly unique, offering all these sports available and not just cricket as well, which for me as a development of a cricket player, the other sports were just as important in my development as a player. Well, I've only just arrived today. So, I mean, I've played in tournaments in Raipur. I have been as a part of a coach during the Champions Trophy. But when I was playing in Raipur, it was during the pandemic. So we were isolated in the hotel to the ground and back. And it's the first time I've actually got out of Raipur. Amazing to be here. And I just think from a point of view where what this college and what the academies are doing, it's such a fantastic opportunity for young sportsmen and women across India, but specifically in this region as well. And I think I see how much sport has developed me as a person, and especially in this day and age where so many children are stuck on their screens. If you can offer this sort of sporting program, there's nothing like it. So I'm really grateful that this is happening, because I consider myself Indian, half Indian, half South African. And as a father, I know how important my father was a school principal. And we grew up at a school ground because he was the last person always to leave. So fantastic that people can come from rural areas and experience these sort of facilities and the care and the nurturing, which is essential for every young child in India. Education is such an important part of a child's development, but sport is just as important for the all-round development. And it's amazing to be here and see the facilities that's going to come up. Yeah, India's become superior to South Africa in fielding, and I think that's very difficult for a South African to say. And I understand why. I've been at the IPL since the beginning, and the importance of fielding amongst the IPL teams and young Indian players coming through, they are just as athletic and just as good in the field as any international player. So I think what always tells a story for the first 5 seasons of IPL, if there were 10 great catchers, 9 of them were overseas players, 1 Indian maybe, usually Suresh Raina. Now, if there's 10 catchers, there will probably be 7 or 6 Indian players and 3 or 4 international players. And I think that's an indication of what MS Dhoni certainly showed in his captaincy with his power and his speed, the importance of being fit and strong. And Virat Kohli took that to the next level. And that turned India's fielding standards around. Because to be a good fielder, you must be a decent athlete. Not a great athlete, but a decent athlete. And that certainly has changed. Because every team that you play now on the world stage, very close together. So if you're weaker in the field, as India was a long time back, you have a disadvantage. Now they compete in the field with any team in the world, which is good. You can't just have 1 or 2 good fielders. You have to have the whole team who are strong. Sure. Quite simple. And it's been an amazing journey, because for a long time I did feel like the father of fielding. Now I'm feeling like the grandfather of fielding. So I'm now very senior in the fielding department. But I think the 2 things that you need is agility. So the movement is one, because fielding is not straight line. And second thing is anticipation. Expect every ball to come. So, you can improve your fielding without even catching a ball. You can improve your movement, and on the field, you can expect every ball to come to you. So you don't have to spend hours practicing your fielding. It's more up in your mental approach to being in the field. You're not wasting your time. You're actually adding value to the team by being a better fielder. MS Dhoni's helicopter shot 2011 World Cup for 6 to lift the trophy. Yeah, I'm a father of small children and bigger children, and it was amazing to see, and I think the awareness in education used to be just about books, and I think education now is having a global perspective. So the impact that you have, and you can't wait till you leave school, and I think that's incredible here. That's seeing young children with the awareness, their projects of the fact that we all actually live in a global village, and we all have an impact on each other. And you don't have to wait until you have a school and a campus to make a difference. As a child, you can make a difference. And I think we as adults, sometimes we need to look like children at the world and its issues, because they see things clearly and they tell the truth. And I think it's a great thing for me that what the children are doing, because it certainly shows an awareness, and that's great that the school is pushing that. Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you.